are all around. She says it's easier to keep her head down.
This is how we do things in isolation. We can't even go live anymore. We're not even allowed to be close to each other virtually live, so now we're taped. The live stream is a tape stream. I'm James Dealey. This is Andrew Fantasia. What up?
Yo, yeah, we have to tape ourselves now. We've come to this. We've been reduced to this. That's okay. I mean, I don't understand computers, but I would think if anybody could, do things remotely and still have it work properly, it'd be YouTube. I don't know. I guess that's why I'm not a rocket scientist, James.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. But this is 2 days in a row where it hasn't worked, and I decided to not stress over it today, so we're going to tape it. Everybody will be watching this tonight. You and I are here. We're inviting all Patreon supporters to join us if they want. There's a link on Patreon. So please feel free to join us there if you want. But we're just going to have some fun. We're going to talk Star Wars, obviously, and Darth Vader specifically. It's Friday, so let's have some fun on this Friday chat. Brock isn't here because he's grocery shopping with his WGR. Apparently that's become a big thing now, is grocery shopping. I actually have to go to the post office later today. I was surprised they were going to let me go, but I have to go to the post office to pick up a package that they would not come because they needed a signature. And I guess it's good enough for me to go to a post office to sign something, but not here. So I'm going to be decked out in gloves and what's up. Oh, look at this. Rachel's here.
Rachel's joining us. Hello.
Oh, and Andrew just had a special guest walk by him. You might recognize that from the Smoke Alarm episode of 2019, aka my favorite episode ever. Anyway, Rachel, how you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty much this morning, I'm really glad I got out of bed. Kevin Smith liked one of my tweets, so my day is officially made.
So you are, yeah.
Very nice.
You're living the dream on that one. Andrew, no one has ever liked any of Andrew's tweets.
No, not even me.
Andrew,
I liked some of them.
It's cool that
that's true. Yeah.
Okay, Andrew does. Okay, whatever. So Andrew is a writer by trade, I suppose, and Rachel, you're also a writer. That's one thing you both have in common. But Andrew, have you given any thought? Because we're going to be doing a contest coming up, and I'm throwing you on the spot here. Well, Rachel, hold on, I got to change your shot right now. You changed your framing. Hold on, that's me. Don't worry, I got this. Andrew, so have you given any thought to the upcoming contest that we're doing? Not to throw you under the bus, but in case you have, maybe we can talk about it a little bit.
It's okay. I live under that bus, James.
Yeah, seriously, it's like since you started this, we've found the bus, and wherever the bus is, it doesn't matter where you are. We find a way to toss you under it.
Yeah, since Rebel Scum's inception, I have had tire marks on all of my clothing. It's okay. It's nice under this bus. I have given some thought to it, and I think that the best way to do this contest. No
one knows what it is yet. You have to. Yeah, nobody knows yet. Okay.
I want to tiptoe around it, but would be the Star Wars way. I think is the best way.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I like the other way, but I think the Star Wars way is the best. So when do you want to announce the next contest? Because we're announcing the winner of the contest today. That was supposed to be the big thing of last week's write 'em up and send 'em in.
Special words?
Yeah. So,
ooh. Well, we can announce. How about this? We'll announce the new contest on Monday.
Monday sounds good. So Monday, new contest on Monday. We got that right now. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, that makes sense. We end this week with this contest, and we start next week with a new contest. We have a few contests coming up, I should say. We got the one that we just kind of did the Star Wars Secrecy Act around. Then there's another one coming up that's going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to both of those. But let's talk about Star Wars now. We'll get to the winner of the contest in just a little bit, but now let's get into Star Wars. And I just wanted to have a nice little fun chat with everybody today to talk about the possibility of a character in Star Wars ever coming into our lives who is cooler than Darth Cedric Vader.
Cedric the Enter Vader?
Cedric the Enter Vader. Andrew's a writer, everybody. Andrew's a writer.
But I'm bumping.
Yeah. Everyone buy his book. It's on Amazon right now. You can also get it on ebook in case you don't want to touch anything.
That's right. It's entertainment and toilet paper if you get the paperback. You literally cannot lose.
unless you had it printed on biodegradable paper.
Oh, damn! I hadn't thought of that.
Anyway,
jiggly.
what do you guys think? Because I know Kylo Ren came and Kylo Ren looked really cool, and you can make the argument that maybe he's deeper than Vader in some ways. But is he as cool as Vader? Do you think? Do you think in 20, 30, 40 years we'll be like, Kylo Ren will be the face of Star Wars? Or do you think it'll remain to be Darth Vader?
Rachel, you field this one first.
I think ultimately Vader's always going to be tops. Like, I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to top that. I mean, he's an icon, not just because of the mask, but the lines that he had in that film and the way they were delivered. I mean, it's all in the physicality of the character. And while Kylo Ren tries to be a little bit more, I mean, Adam Driver is 6'4", so I mean, he is kind of very imposing. But I kind of think like he used a little bit more of the Force techniques. My hand's shaking. I think he used a little bit more of the Force techniques than Vader tended to do. I think Vader primarily kind of relied on his abilities with lightsaber training and just kind of his reputation as Anakin Skywalker. So that kind of gave Vader more of a leg up than Kylo Ren.
Also, I should point out that there is we're not live. We couldn't go live today. We're taping this, but there is a live chat going alongside of this. So let's look at the live chat.
Ooh,
no, there's
okay,
not. There's not really. I made that up. I mean, there is a live. There's a live chat, but that's in the future. Right now, we're in the present. There's no live chat now. The live chat is in the future when this gets posted. Do you hear what I'm saying? So we can't look at it. But if anyone has any comments in the live chat, we will surely bring them up on another show. Because that's how we're doing. That's how we're doing it today. Because, like I said, YouTube was not letting me go live, which is what it is. I wonder if Patreon will let me go live on Patreon. You guys keep talking. Vader, is he? Okay, High Republic, Darth Bane, Andrew's favorite Revan. We have characters here. Do any of these characters that we've already met have the potential to come into the forefront now and take over the popularity of Darth Vader or even a Kylo Ren at this point?
Well, look, here's the thing. I'm a fresh-faced youngster. I was born in the year 1987, Anno Domini. I was not around for the original trilogy, at least not firsthand, so I could be completely wrong. But the way I look at it anyway is that in those days when the OT was coming out, people, like the vast majority of people, Star Wars fans, whatever, who flocked to the movie theaters, weren't obsessed with Vader and worshiping Vader the way that I think Star Wars fans do now. I think they saw Vader the way we saw, Thanos when we watched Infinity War, like, ooh, that's a really cool bad guy. But for the most part, we were cheering for the Leias, the Lukes, the Hans. And over time, when Star Wars was over and the 80s happened and the 90s happened and people missed Star Wars, they missed that big event from their youth. And then the prequels came out with a lot of Anakin, but decidedly very little Vader. I think that's when people got super ravenous. They're just like, no, we want Vader. We want what we remember. And at that point, something switched in the zeitgeist and everybody just became Vader worshipers. I don't think it was as heated when it was brand new. So will we see a character as cool as Vader? That depends. I think if we do, it would be just like Vader, posthumously cool.
Yeah, it seems like it would kind of take like a couple of years for everybody to kind of decide where they stand. Because right now, I'd say probably next to Vader, the most popular bad guy would have to be that it's in films or on a series or something like that would have to be Maul. I think that's pretty much the next one in line behind Vader, because it's something that everybody's seen and enjoyed in film. And then now with, it being him being part of an animated series, it's something that's become a little bit more accessible to a wider audience. So I'm not sure if Kylo can actually, I don't know. He might make the switch later on, but right now I still think Vader rules. Do
you think they missed a mark on Kylo at all as a villain?
I think they missed an opportunity to make him. I mean, they kind of have always had him like hovering in between. He's always been an in between. Even when we first got introduced to him in The Force Awakens, he was still kind of a very in the middle, like he was trying to prove how bad he was and prove that he was the next Vader. And I think that kind of cut the legs out from underneath that character instead of just introducing him as just full dark side. I think it would have been a more dramatic shift if you had him go all the way instead of just kind of hovering right there on the edge.
What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I like, personally, I just liked the way Kylo was hovering, because like it helped make the distinction between him and Vader. He was a very different dude. I think it made him a strong villain in his own right, because that I felt like if they would have made him more like Vader, he kind of would have got lost in the shuffle. But I don't know. I see, honestly, right now in the Disney era, at least, the only character who I see could have the lasting cool factor, because that's a weird thing to pin down to, is coolness, but the only character I can see having that cool factor that could last 20, 30, 40 years down the road is the Mandalorian, for now at least, because he seems to be universal. Like I've yet to meet the Star Wars fan who's like, man, that's a stupid character.
Yeah, maybe. For me with I loved Kylo Ren. When I went into Force Awakens, I was all Kylo. When I came out, I was all Finn. I actually preferred Finn. Not prefer, but Finn was a character that kind of surprised me. I was a huge fan of. I think Kylo really almost represents the sequel trilogy as a whole, where it's very indecisive. it doesn't know what foot to go on, or he doesn't what side he is or whatnot. I kind of wish there's a moment of Kylo, which I guess when he reverts back to Ben, you get, but where it was a little bit more distinct in who the character was. And I do like that he's torn apart, and that's what creates this character. But the thing is he even the ultimate villain of this sequel trilogy? I mean, Vader, you could always argue the Emperor, but really it's Vader, right? No one can. Like, all the top 10, top 100 best villains in movie history, Vader is on that list more times than anybody else. Palpatine's always the one hovering. Snoke was hovering, but Snoke was never really that intriguing. Kylo Ren was, and it felt like they were afraid to push him in any kind of direction. You know what I mean? I think that's one thing. What?
Rural just joined.
Rural's here. RFB
Hello, Rural.
is here. I was just going to tweet you the link. How's it going? No, he can't hear yet. We'll give him some time. I lost my train of thought now. Star Wars is good.
You were talking about Snoke and how he's not really the villain.
He's not really, but he was and he wasn't. Do you think that there could have been a moment where they were a little bit more decisive on where Kylo was going to end up? Until obviously at the end when he's Ben Solo, that's where it goes.
Andrew, you go first.
All right. I think that I like that Kylo Ren is indecisive. I think that they played him well pretty much throughout. That's a great analogy you made, James. He, like, literally, if the sequel trilogy was a person, it would be Kylo, Ben Solo. Particularly when he's like, I'm being torn apart. It suits him. If the trilogy itself was a bit more focused than Kylo, he would have just been made stronger by association. That's how I feel. But welcome, Mr. Rural Farm Boy.
Hi, Rural.
Rural's here. Rural,
Thank you, Andrew.
We're talking about Darth Vader, and do you think we will ever see a character in Star Wars as cool as the Dark Lord of the Sith?
If we're gonna, it'll be something. It's going to be something new or different unto itself, not in any kind of relation to Darth Vader is his own thing.
Oh yeah,
just like Darth Maul was his own thing, and Dooku was his own thing. That's just my. See, I have a hard time speculating. It's not something I can go and do. I can deal in spoilers all day long.
Okay, so but if you had to rank the Star Wars villains, Vader, Maul, Kylo, Dooku, where would they go? Where would they fit?
Why are you leaving out Grievous, James? How dare you?
Well, we could have Grievous in there. Put them all in there. Whatever. Would Vader be the top of your list? Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, because he was one that first latched on to me when I was that 10-year-old kid all them years back. But as for the rest, I would treat them in the way of you're asking me to rank or rate. I would do them the same way that I do the stories, or as they're called, films. I don't rate nor rank one nor other above. No, it's going to be, I'll say, if it's in relation to Sith Lords or bad guys, it's whoever I'm watching. Like Brandon from Flash and Saber says. Whoever I'm watching right now, or whoever I just finished watching, that one would be my next favorite. And so on down the line. So all the previous ones I watched in that particular order, which is also said no particular order. Just for me.
Spoken like a true stormtrooper. He was a stormtrooper. Everyone should know that.
Former, that is. Yep,
former stormtrooper, yeah, right there.
Does that put me in the hot seat now?
Sure, you want to take it?
Sure. Like, what were the options? Grievous, Dooku.
Grievous, Dooku, Maul, Vader, Kylo.
Why is she here? Obviously, the idea.
I'd have to go Vader, Maul, Kylo, Grievous, and then Dooku. Dooku didn't really get enough, like in the films at least, he didn't get enough kind of time to really form a conducive kind of like, this is me and I'm a threat kind of storyline. Grievous was a little bit more interesting because he was kind of like almost the foil for Obi-Wan and Anakin during the Clone Wars scenes. He made it interesting. He was something completely different than just another, human force user type thing. Maul, I absolutely love me some Darth Maul. Maul is amazing. Like Ray Park did an epic job of doing that, and then Sam Witwer just made it even better with the voice. But like Kylo Ren, I like Andrew's point where like the conflict is good, but it's hard to tell what the conflict is that he's feeling because they never underpin it as this is what's causing his conflict. I think the reason why Kylo is a little bit more kind of speculative is because he actually had a foil. They gave him a good side foil. Whereas with Vader, it was kind of the galaxy against Vader. It was, it could be anybody. It could be Han, it could be Leia, it could be Luke, it could be any number of guys facing off against Vader. He was just kind of the quintessential, stock bad guy that was right on point, right on mission. Whereas with Kylo, his kind of, oh God, what is the word I'm looking for? His motivation, like his modus operandi that he's using to kind of go about the things that he's carrying out for Snoke and for the First Order. I think Hux was a little more well-developed than Kylo with that, because Kylo's just kind of going off half-cocked. Like first he's looking for BB-8 and then he's looking for Rey, and then he finds Rey and he doesn't know, like there's no like set foil for Vader. So Vader could literally just be used as the ultimate bad guy because anybody can step up against him and either they're going to win or they're going to get knocked back, like in Empire. But with Kylo Ren, you have Rey, and Rey was the ultimate foil for Kylo because she had that emotional underpinning with Ben Solo that kind of made Kylo edgy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. I found that, I don't know, it's like I just gauge the villains, the characters in general, but I gauge the Star Wars villains just on like, okay, when they show up, when I see them, whether it's on a screen or on a page, like how much joy do they give me? Like the Marie Kondo thing, do they inspire joy? When so-and-so shows up, how big is the smile that cracks across my face? And for me, it always peaks with Palpatine. And then under that, I would put Grievous, and then like Vader and Phasma. Like those four are just kind of like right there in a nice little sandwich. All the other villains, I could really kind of take or leave. But it's the Phasma point actually is interesting because if you look at Phasma in The Force Awakens, her role in that movie is kind of similar to what Vader's role was in A New Hope. Just like this faceless muscle who was a big threat on the bad guy side, but you had more of another villain, Kylo, or in Vader's case, Tarkin, who was kind of the face and the mouth of the villainy. And the other, like Vader and Phasma were just sort of in the background, they were just sort of like almost like a henchman, like Odd Job, not really saying much, but cracking their knuckles and showing that they mean business.
Yeah, like Phasma, I think Phasma was meant to be kind of like you were kind of torn between, okay, Kylo, like how does the hierarchy go? It goes Snoke, Kylo, Hux, then Phasma, or is it Kylo, then Phasma? I always thought it was Kylo, Phasma, then Hux, because it seemed like Hux was more of the bureaucrat and Phasma was more of the action.
Miss Rachel, if you want an answer to that, there is one for The Force Awakens. They're like a trinity, if you will. They are right beneath Snoke. That is his trinity for controlling and operating the whole of the First Order, as we're told in that story. And then as the story progresses, things change. We lose Phasma, and we eventually Snoke's out. But as of The Force Awakens, yeah, it comes from The Force Awakens visual guide that says that they are, in fact, not one above the other, but they are three equal. And even though Phasma has a rank/title of captain, her rank is much higher than just a captain. Captain's a middle grade rank. She's more close to a general. She's in line with Hux.
I always liked the idea that Phasma was not, like, we always see Kylo kind of bossing Hux around. I kind of liked the idea that it was like Hux was kind of like, I can't get anything done because of it's always either Ren or Phasma on my butt.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the idea that if Kylo didn't feel like dealing with Hux directly, that he would just give an order to Phasma, and then Phasma would have to like, it was like a really weird, awkward game of telephone between the three of them.
Yeah, it's even in a galaxy far, far away, the history repeats itself. Them three went about getting in each other's way. What happened 30 years prior? All through the Empire, the same thing was happening. It was little power pushes. Get out of my way. I'm doing this. I mean, Tarkin and Krennic. Boom.
Yeah, the dark side.
I guess that's why I like Vader so much, because he's like, if you make me mad, I'm just going to force choke you.
Yeah, you're going down because I'm headed for whatever I want, and if you're in my way, yeah, and then on he goes. Andrew, you were going to say?
The dark side loves survival of the fittest. That's how they roll. And I loved it. I was always like really amused by the idea of Kylo, Phasma, and Hux being just like these three co-workers on an even playing field who are constantly just sucking up to the boss and being like, today's the day I get the promotion. Like hell it is. Like that. I could watch a whole sitcom of just that.
Yeah, like, who gets the corner office? It's mine. I've earned it. Well, how many people did you kill today? How many people did you turn to the dark side today? How many ships did you destroy today?
I have something in my hand. You guys, my video for some reason is not going to you guys right now. But yesterday, Rural, I mentioned that I had the Grievous Funko Pop, and you're like, show it on the live stream.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're not live, but I have it in my hand. So this is going to go up tonight. So I'm going to show it to the camera. There is the Grievous. It's still in the box. There's the Grievous Funko right there. Rob, Darth Ward, was kind enough to give me this for Christmas, 3 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was. It is. I told him I want to take it out of the box, and he yelled at me.
Well, it's no fun in the box.
It's not fun at all in the box. It's. I'm looking at it. It's beautiful. The box is actually creased. It's dented on the top, so I mean, it's not worth anything anyway. I should just take it out. I'll tell him again. He actually got kind of mad. He gave me a sand trooper as well, and I said, I'm going to take it out. He goes, why? So, but yeah, you're right. It's not fun at all in the box. But that's my General Grievous Funko Pop that we mentioned yesterday on one of the shows, and you asked to show in the live stream, and here it is, right here. What's up, Rachel?
So,
Roy was pointing at the helmet behind him. I need to get some more gear. Like my room looks horrible compared to like y'all's setup. Like it's just baby pink walls and a freaking door. Like there's nothing I can do about. Like I like it's. I need to just wallpaper this thing with some posters.
Well, I just remember James was saying former stormtrooper, and I'm like, well, here's my bucket.
Oh,
right
that's
here.
awesome. That is the coolest thing ever. That is my favorite thing in Star Wars right there. Yeah, that's right. I'll pick Stormtrooper.
James, I'm shocked you haven't bought yourself a Stormtrooper costume after all these years.
I've seriously considered it. I've considered the helmet a few times when I've seen them.
We can safely put James and Pete Flutzer in the same boat because they've both been thinking the same thing for so long, but they won't go take the jump.
Well, we'll see. We'll see who takes the jump first.
Yeah.
Actually, Pete, I think we're going to record with him next week. Actually, spoilers. We've been.
I get a spot for that in my playlist.
Yeah, we've been talking. So
you could always save it. You could always save it for May 4th or for Halloween. I think that would be pretty awesome to have some like everybody pick a character and then like have almost like a costume contest or something for Halloween, or maybe for May 4th everybody represent their favorite character.
Oh, that means Andrew would have to dress up as Baby Yoda.
Hey-o. It won't take much. I already look like 80% like him anyway,
when you take those headphones off, your ears go bling.
Well, I can't unhear that now.
Wait till you see it. You won't be able to unsee
His
it.
ears stick out that bad. Why does he even need Why do you even need the headphones if your ears are already like satellite dishes?
It just makes James's sultry voice sound even better.
It's for feedback. That's why you can't. Adrian puts it up, and you'll hear radio signals from Mars coming through. Speaking of Mars, actually, on Patreon tomorrow night. A bunch of patrons have already seen this, but there's a lot of new ones. Andrew was in a movie that I wrote and directed a few years ago, so we're going to put that up on Patreon for everybody tomorrow night. It's not Star Wars, but he tries to move to Mars.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were putting that up.
I put it up last year on May 4th, and I was like, well, we don't really have anything for tomorrow. I said, maybe people want to stay home and watch a movie that they'll never be able to watch anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Good call.
Patreon exclusive.
Yeah, it is. There's a password. You have to log on with the password. So watch if you want. Don't if you don't. But Andrew is the star, and he's in. He did a great job in that one, actually.
Oh, stop. That was 6 years ago.
6 years ago we shot it.
So I had a bit more hair. I had a bit more belly. That was a whole different Andrew.
It was. That
was an Andrew that still ate root beer Pop-Tarts.
Yes, exactly.
We posted that last night for everybody when you come on and you're eating the Pop-Tart. That was 6 years ago. A lot changes.
The best thing about that Pop-Tart story, and I don't think we mentioned this asterisk enough, and we should, is that that morning I offered Rob, I was like, Rob, would you like some of these crazy Pop-Tarts? And he's like, yeah, sure. So he had 2 of those Pop-Tarts with me. And then no more than an hour later, as we're walking to the convention center, he's like, ooh, a Dunkin' Donuts. And he grabs some of those. So as bad as my breakfast was, Rob topped you. Rob topped you.
So have either one of you been to a celebration?
I haven't.
No, it's so we Andrew was just in the one in Chicago, so I can't speak to that, but he can. But in Orlando, to get in, it was like you're all like hurdle in line, right? Like cows. And we're all waiting to get in. It's what was it, like a 2-3 hour wait, whatever it was, for the doors to open while you're standing in line to get in. And the coffee
for Orlando.
This was Orlando, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the coffee line was 2 hours long to get a coffee at 6 a.m. But the thing is, you were either in the line you were in, laying on the ground, or you were in line for a coffee. So I went up with Andrew and Rob. We're like, let's just go get a coffee. And Andrew's like, I want Papa John's. And it was like 7 a.m. He's eating a slice of pizza because it happened to be that Papa John's opened like the minute we got to the front of the coffee line. And Andrew's like, well, Papa John's. And he went over. And at 6 a.m, he's having himself a pizza. And I'm not going to lie, I regret not getting that with you.
No, you don't.
Even though I've never been to a celebration, but since 2015 Anaheim, I have followed along with every live stream, and then as I progress to get into the different social media things and in the Twitterverse and making different friends, yeah, that same story that you just spun, James, in other places, before celebration doors opened and not whatnot, no matter which one it was, whether it was the one in 2016 over in England, yeah, I heard so many different fun, goofy, weird, long, tiring stories that friends of ours went through. And I just got one from you.
Yeah, it's
that's neatest stuff.
See, y'all have awesome stories. The only one I have is whenever I went to New York City Comic Con in 2012. Like, none of the Jedis or like no Star Wars characters pretty much showed up until like the last day. But whenever like I was walking down Second Avenue to get to the Javits Center, like it was just a sea of lightsabers, and there were guys who had like the full Vader costumes posing with kids. There were, I mean, it was somebody dressed up as the Rancor. It was pretty awesome. But then they also had like, that was when like Walking Dead was starting to like really come into its own. So they had all of these Jedi. They had characters dressed as zombie Jedis, and then they had a zombie crawl afterwards. So literally at one point you're just walking around and then there's just a sea of the undead. Some of them carrying lightsabers, some of them wearing stormtrooper helmets that have been broken in half. You're just like, where am I? Like, how do I run or do I stand and take pictures? Because they were like all in character. It was like an organized event. They were literally going through the entire Javits Center and out the front door to take over the sidewalk. So I was just like, okay, we're just going to take a couple pictures and then we're going to move a little further back.
So Andrew, you was at this past celebration.
What's that, Rule?
You were at this past celebration.
Yes, yeah,
Chicago.
the Chicago one. Yeah, I
all
was
right,
there.
speak to some of the wild, crazy, or just fantastical stuff you saw.
Well, I remember, I don't know if this was just because everything's relative and I was like trying to make sure I got enough footage or whatnot, but for some reason the Chicago lines seemed a lot shorter than the Orlando lines. Again, maybe it's because I was like filming stuff or emailing James back and forth and being like, "What do you want me to do?"
I was in the front lines, like, you were getting it. No, actually, just to interject for a second, because so we were all supposed to go, and then I just got a new job and I wasn't able to get the time off. So Andrew's like, "I'll go," and he went alone. But what happened was they learned from Orlando, and there was a system in place. It was a lottery system. So in Orlando, you had to go early to try to get in. Now you already knew if you were getting in. They did have standby in Chicago, but you already pretty much knew. So you got an email because we got into the Phantom Menace panel, the 20th anniversary panel, which is the one I wanted the most to get into, and we did. But so you knew ahead of time. So that would explain why the lines were a little less chaotic. Anyway, Andrew, sorry to interject there.
No, that does make sense. Because I remember in Orlando there was that big line, the one you're talking about, the Papa John's line, where I literally was standing there right in front of you, and I turned on. You lent me your sound headphones. I turned on Hamilton and I listened to all of Hamilton while we stood. And this wasn't even like the lines slowly moving. This is just waiting for them to open the doors. Yeah. And I don't recall having a wait in Chicago that was long enough to where I could be like, I'm going to listen to all of Hamilton and still have some time left over. But I remember the biggest change for me was things became infinitely easier when, like 3 days into celebration, I realized there was a hotel shuttle. Because before that, I was Ubering, and I did not get good internet over there. So using Uber was a pain in the bum. So I'm just like, messaging those Uber drivers like, hey, I'm here. I think my GPS says I'm here. I don't know. God help me. I just need to get back to the hotel. Then I finally found out there was a shuttle. And from like day 3 onward, I was just sitting in this shuttle all comfortable. And it was like heated because it was cold there at that point. And I just got to ride back and forth with a bunch of Star Wars fans. And it was a whole lot easier to plan my day where the shuttle was concerned. That was a big help. And we didn't have the shuttle in Orlando, but we had the car. Erin was basically chauffeuring us around. She was a trooper.
Yeah.
So it was the hardest part of Chicago was not having the car and having to Uber. But as soon as I got the shuttle, I was like,
So we got it.
we're going.
You know what we should do is, so when Andrew went to Chicago, I stayed back and we did a live stream every night during Celebration, and Andrew was kind enough, although he did get media credentials, so let's see what, I mean, it wasn't that kind, but he actually did daily like recaps every day, and he would interview people on the floor at Celebration and talk to them about their day and how they were doing. So those were a lot of fun. So maybe we'll put all of those together into a new video, Andrew, and people can relive Star Wars Celebration while they're all in isolation right now.
Yeah, especially if we don't get one this year.
So we'll start with
things like that, especially from past Celebration that carried me through the rest of the day when I wasn't listening to my playlist. Is so many other friends on their shows after the show floor closed down would go back to wherever it was that they were staying, whether it was a Airbnb or a hotel or whatnot, and record all these little mini episodes. I mean, so many different shows. So after Celebration stream ended, that finished off the last hours of my day for whichever day of Celebration that was, to hear what everybody else was, what they did spending the rest of their day when they weren't in a panel or such. Yeah, put them up. Those would be fun to listen to.
Yeah, we'll put those back up. If we are fortunate enough to go this year, if this all passes by then, which I mean, I think we all hope it does eventually, we plan on doing the same amount of coverage as we did last year in Chicago, but more. We should all be there together this time, and Andrew won't have to carry us all on his shoulders because his shoulders are still in pain right now.
So he'd literally have to carry you around like Luke did Yoda.
Yeah.
But you're not like, you just have to. I love that gif of Mark Hamill carrying Yoda around because that I use it all the time. Yoda just leans in like he's like,
yeah,
I love the smell of your musk. It's hilarious.
It's great.
I just imagine Luke being like, dude, what are you doing? You smelling me?
You smell my neck. I'll say to rope Farm Boy's point about watching the panels online, going there, and Andrew, you can speak after. This is my experiences. I when I go next time, whenever that is, hopefully this summer, I'm not going to be as obsessed with going to see the panels live as I was in Orlando, because you can stream them online. They're the same experience. Sure, you're not in the room with the cheering and whatnot, but if you're not in there, there's so much other stuff to see. It is a celebration of Star Wars. It's more than just the panels, and in a lot of ways, the panels are the least interesting part of the live experience. Now, the information, everything is wonderful, and it's like we went to the Ray Park panel, which was a lot of fun. You went Phantom Menace. The panels are great, but you can get the same experience watching them from home, and I think that is a great thing that they're doing for people at home. However, I will also have to point this out. The Mandalorian showed the teaser trailer to only the people in the panel room, not to the audience watching online. I said it when it happened. I'm gonna say the same thing now. I was okay with that because as great as it is that we're getting all of this bonus content from them and they're sharing the experiences, the people that go there, those people, and I wasn't there, so I'm just saying, spent a lot of money. They took their vacation. They took a lot of time to get there. And I think giving the people who do that a little bit something extra is nice. And look, and if some people cannot afford to go, they can't take the time, that is understandable, but you get all this other stuff that they're giving you as well. So I think just a little piece, it was a 1 minute thing from The Mandalorian. It wasn't like they showed them the first 7 episodes, it was like a minute clip that we all have ended up seeing eventually anyway. So I thought that's fine, but I really, really appreciate that they throw up the panels for the most part on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the biggest lesson I took away after 2 celebrations. Because with Orlando, when I was still, young and reckless and naive, I was panicked the whole time because I was like, oh my God, guys, we're going to miss the panel. We failed. But then as time goes on and stuff, I was like, you know what? There's so much more to see and discover. And I think back to Chicago, where I got into the Phantom Menace panel and the Rebels panel, and they were great and they were fun. And I got to be in the same room as like Ian McDermott and I'm blanking, but the girl who plays Sabine, who I have a huge crush on, like I got to be in the same room with them and thank you, and Filoni and stuff. So I was like, that's cool. But when I think of the celebration memories, I barely remember the panels. I remember the other stuff. And like when we think of Orlando, James, the panels that that had the biggest impact on me was not episode 8 or whatever the big ones were. For me, it was Ray Park and Warwick Davis
reenacting the ending of The Phantom Menace.
To this day, Warwick Davis is still the best Darth Maul. And the panel we went to of
I think he was Qui-Gon
remembering
or Obi-Wan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was Obi-Wan.
It was actually
the other one with Mark remembering Carrie. Like that was a beautiful one.
That was a really good one. Yes, that one was really good. But the Warwick Davis, okay. I'm gonna put a link on this description if I can find it of that panel, because at the end, you know, in The Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan is stuck behind the force fields and he can't get to Qui-Gon, they do that with Warwick Davis, but they use Saran wrap as the thing, and he gets caught, and then it was very entertaining and a lot of fun. And I think I recorded the entire thing on my phone, and it was just, and Warwick Davis is the greatest host. It was a lot of fun.
Poor Warwick. He can't catch it he catches it from every angle. Ricky Gervais puts him in a show and makes him travel around with Carl Pilkington, and then all Star Wars fans are like, do the Yub Nub thing, and then they're like, put him on a panel and make him run through Saran.
So good. In the Rise of Skywalker, that's him and his son. Sorry, Rural, what was that?
I just tripped across a thing that I saw earlier before you put this stream up here. When you were speaking to Celebration and being hopeful that it's going to go on in August, and this comes right off the Force Toast Girls in the Twitterverse. It's got a 36 minutes ago timestamp that I want to say it's Miss Laura, picked it up from Balance of the Force podcast, who reached out to Reed Pop to ask if there's any kind of update concerning Celebration 2020, and they replied back with, as of right now, 42 minutes ago, their answer, Reed Pop's answer to him was, and it's even up on Star Wars Balance's Instagram, that as of right now, it is a go.
Yeah,
they're not planning to cancel anything.
Wow.
And if they're gonna, they'll let. Yep, did you see it?
Yeah, I just retweeted it. Thank you. No, keep going. I'll let you. This is all you. Okay. I found it because of you.
Yeah, whenever I see stuff like this is why I go, if I find something I think that the rest of my friends are going to be interested in, even if it don't concern me, it gets retweeted, because I know one Ian's is going to go get to see it somewhere and then pass it along. So when I saw that, I
give my left leg to be able to go to a Star Wars celebration.
Don't give you a list.
One day, me too.
Yeah, you can watch
too. Well, I hear you, sis.
Maybe they'll come to closer to where you are. They're never coming to Toronto, so Andrew and I are screwed.
They're never coming anywhere near Nashville. I don't see, like, that would be amazing, but like Star Wars in Nashville would just, like, everybody would just be confused completely. They'd just be like, why are we doing this here? Why? This country music, too much fried food. Like, everybody's like arteries would automatically become hard, and they're just like, we need salads, we need fresh air. What is this? That's boring. 3 comic shops within 20 miles of where I live, maybe, but it's not like it's like a fanboy drought out here. They don't exist. It's literally like being on Jakku.
Yeah, they won't be coming to Pittsburgh no time soon either.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's going anywhere near New York, so I doubt that's going to happen.
That's true. New York is.
I was planning on a trip to New York at the end of June. And thankfully I bought trip insurance because I have it almost paid off, but it's probably not going to happen now.
No.
But at least the insurance is there, so I'm covered. But
no, hopefully travel can resume. I think at some point in August, you would think so. And then the good news for Celebration, and I think this speaks to the tweet that Rural just pointed out, is is Emerald City Comic Con has postponed until the weekend before Star Wars Celebration. Wonder Woman has delayed their release until August 14th. So it looks like organizations and companies are looking at August, mid-August, to when things can get somewhat normal. I don't know what that means, but some type of normalcy going on at some point.
For me,
So that basically means I'm going to have tons of stuff happen around my birthday. Awesome. I'm happy. There will be more Star Wars content around my birthday than ever before.
I know this is a Star Wars podcast, but for me, the thing that I'm hoping and praying for is I just want to be able to go see Ghostbusters in July. That's like please don't let that get delayed.
I feel like you'll get that in October.
You're probably right.
At least it's coming
like
up.
The 9-month thing for James Bond killed me. So like if
that makes sense to me though, because November is the fall version of April, right? So or March or whatever.
November is usually where Bond drops in November almost all the time. So this was an anomaly.
Like the Fast and the Furious coming out a year later is crazy. At least there's no Star Wars getting delayed. We can all, at least we don't have to wait. Imagine if Rise of Skywalker was coming out now and we had to wait another year.
Oh my God!
The content we would push out would be incredible. I have to say the winner of the contest. We have the winner of the contest.
That's right.
Yes. Anybody want to do a drum roll?
If anybody wants to do a drum roll, you can. We did this yesterday over the internet thing that goes and it spun out a name because we had 41 people enter the contest.
Wow, nice.
And the winner is, just looking at my notes, and there's a whole script for this. Here we go. And the winner of the live stream contest for a copy of High Republic Light of the Jedi, Automated Joy.
Woo! Yay!
I think
All right.
Rachel's like at an award ceremony where you hear the runner-up. It's like, yeah, I'm very happy. I'm happy that Leonardo DiCaprio won. I'm very happy.
I just don't want to shout and like blast everybody. With like, I'm on my phone, but I tend to like, I've been told that when I get really excited, I kind of shout sometimes. So I kind of try to stay a little bit more in the lower octave where I'm not like deafening Andrew through his headphones or blasting Roll with his earpiece. So it's just kind of like, that's awesome. I love that. But don't scream and don't kill don't kill the audio.
Fair enough. Fair point. Okay. We are going to wrap things up for the day. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. We're gonna let the put links out next week. We're gonna move over to Streamlabs. Like I know 2Med2 does the Streamlabs for his, and it works a little bit stronger than here. But we gotta set that up still. We're not equipped for it, and maybe YouTube will let us go live. But we're gonna keep the links up for Patreon to join us more and more. Rural, before we leave, anything you want to say?
Well, the only thing, I didn't get to go put myself into that contest because this past Friday, or last Friday, I guess I should say, so this is this Friday, I was collecting up the words of the day, every lunchtime live stream, and when Friday come around, it was right before lunchtime, and I missed that day's live stream for lunch. I wrote them down on a Post-it note, and I put them in my desk. And I wrote down, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I missed Fridays. And then when I was told I was getting kicked out of work for the next 2 weeks with pay, I didn't bring that Post-it note home. So the rest of Friday up until 8 o'clock, I was running around trying to find all the day's passwords, and I didn't get them.
Sorry, you should have sent me an email. Okay, well, we'll talk.
That's on me.
Well, no. Rachel, anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
Thank you guys for letting me come and hang.
Say your last
Everybody
name.
go check out. What?
Say your last name so that Brock knows what you.
oh yeah. But Andrew actually did it right. I actually gave him mad props for doing it right. It's Alfred. Alfred, not Alfred. I don't work for Batman. Alfred. Like I keep like tweeting at Brock, like roll the L, dude. Alfred, not Alfred.
To be fair, Rachel, if you did work for Batman, you wouldn't be able to tell us, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna keep that on the DL.
Well, I mean, it's not like Bruce Wayne's really kind of holding that button down 24/7. He's just like, ooh, pretty woman. You want to know who I am? It's literally like he ought to just have business cards made up as my name is Batman. That way, whenever he just finds a pretty girl or something, he just be like, here's my number. And all it's got is like the bat signal on it.
Andrew?
You all know how to say my last name already, so I'm good with that. But this has been fun. It's been fun reminiscing about Celebration with you guys. And thanks for coming on again, Rural and Rachel. This has been a lot of fun. Sorry we can't be live for anybody who's watching this after the fact, but you know what? We're live in your heart and soul, man.
I still love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't come in as expecting to be on the stream. I was expecting to just, listen to the kind of live chat. And when I seen the camera pop up, I said, holy force.
No,
and I'm also very happy that we have collectively managed through the week to make this a partial Rebel Scum Batman podcast.
Yes, that's how we do it on the Friday show. Well, thanks for joining us. There was technical difficulties for the, I don't know if it was just my end, but YouTube wouldn't let me go live. So here we are. We did this. This was a lot of fun. We'll put this up tonight so you guys can rewatch it. Have a lot of fun. Once again, thank you, Rural. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you, everybody who is watching and commenting on this live chat beside us. And until next time, may the force of others be with you.
Batman.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.